I just finished this book called the Checklist Manifesto. Hopefully you can see it here on my iPad, and it's going to give you my thoughts on it. The author argues that, or his basic thesis of the book is that complexity has increased with the increase in technology. The information that people are expected to remember and retain is exploded, and he argues that one of the simplest ways to prevent errors is to use checklists. And his background, he's a surgeon, so he uses a lot of examples from medicine, how IV checklists will prevent infections and it actually saves lives, and also surgery checklists. Apparently there's actually quite a bit of resistance in the medical community for checklists, because we have this picture in our minds that medical doctors and surgeons should know everything, all-knowing, but because of the complexity, it's very, very difficult for people to know everything all the time. And even even if they do know it, to not forget. One of the interesting things I found is that a good checklist also helps prevent or helps deal with interruptions. And I know that in most businesses and even the medical profession, if you could be in the middle of a procedure or process and an interruption can occur, and then you may not even realize that you didn't do a step. So that's one of the great parts about a checklist. My only thing that I would have loved to see more in the book is more examples of non-medical examples. And he gave a few. He used the skyscrapers, and with building modern skyscrapers, there's basically two checklists. There's one for what needs to get done, and there's another checklist for who needs to talk to who. And that was very interesting. He talked about, obviously, checklists in flights. There's a story in there about from 1935 when Boeing built the Flying Fortress, and how that plane, a very, very experienced pilot, took off with the plane and actually crashed it. And the newspapers at the time said that it was too much plane for one person to fly. And a lot of industries have become too much for one person to fly. And the way that they countered that with the Boeing plane was actually to create a flight checklist. Because prior to that, flying was dangerous, but you couldn't, if you forgot to open a flap or something, your plane wouldn't have crashed. So I highly recommend the book. I would love to hear your thoughts if you do read it. It is a pretty easy read, and if you do have any interest in the medical field, you probably would find it interesting, some of the studies that they've done. So I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars.